Astoria is a middle-class and commercial neighborhood with a population of 154,000 in the northwestern corner of the New York City borough of Queens. Located in Community Board 1, Astoria is bounded by the East River and is adjacent to three other Queens neighborhoods: Long Island City, Sunnyside, and Woodside. Astoria is patrolled by the New York City Police Department's 114th Precinct. History: the area now known as Astoria was originally called Halley's Cove, after its first landowner William Hallett, who settled there in 1659 with his wife, Elizabeth Phones. Beginning in the early 19th century, affluent New Yorkers constructed large residences around 12th and 14th Streets, an area that later became known as Astoria Village. Halley's Cove, incorporated on April 12, 1839 and previously founded by fur merchant Stephen A. Halsey, was a noted recreational destination and resort for Manhattan's wealthy. The area was renamed after John Jacob Astor, then the wealthiest man in America with a net worth of over $40 million. In order to persuade him to invest in the neighborhood, he only invested $500, but the name stayed nonetheless, as a bitter battle over naming the village finally was won by Astor's supporters and friends. From Astor's summer home in Hellgate, Manhattan, on what is now East 87th Street near York Avenue, he could see across the East River the new Long Island Village named in his honor. Astor, however, never actually set foot in Astoria. During the second half of the 19th century, economic and commercial growth brought increased immigration from German settlers, mostly furniture and cabinet makers. One such settler was Heinrich Engelhard Steinweg, patriarch of the Steinway family, who founded the piano company Steinway and Amp Sons in 1853, which today is a worldwide piano company. Later on, the Steinways built a sawmill and foundry, as well as a streetcar line. The family eventually established Steinway Village for the Workers, a company town that provided school instruction in German as well as English. Part of the motivation for locating the Steinway factory in Queens was to keep the workers isolated from the ferment of labor organizing and radicalism occurring in other parts of New York, notably the Lower East Side, Astoria and several other surrounding villages, including Steinway, were incorporated into Long Island City in 1870. Long Island City remained an independent municipality until it was incorporated into New York City in 1898. The area's farms were turned into housing tracts and street grids to accommodate the growing number of residents. Astoria also figured prominently in early American filmmaking as one of its initial centers. That heritage is preserved today by the Museum of the Moving Image and Kaufman Astoria Studios. Today, much of the Astoria waterfront is being redeveloped in underutilized industrial sites in forgotten historic neighborhoods of being revived. Hallett's Point is one of 5 former industrial sites on the waterfront being transformed, and will bring 7 new mixed-use residential towers, including 2,000 market-rate units and 500 affordable units, into the neighborhood. The development will also include new waterfront parks, a supermarket, retail shops and restaurants, and 2 new schools. These waterfront projects were designed by a New York architectural firm, in conjunction with private developers, city agencies and landscape architects. Demographics: Astoria was first settled by the Dutch and Germans in the 17th century. Many Irish settled in the area during the waves of Irish immigration into New York City during the 19th and early 20th centuries. Italians were the next significant immigrants in Astoria, and numerous Italian restaurants, delis, bakeries, and pizza shops are found throughout Astoria, particularly in the Ditmars Boulevard area. Jews were also a significant ethnic and religious group. The Astoria Center of Israel, which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, was built in 1925 after outgrowing the former congregation Mishkan Israel, which was built in 1904. The 1960s saw a large increase of Greek population from mainland Greece, and after 1974, there was an influx of Greeks from Cyprus. This cultural imprint can be seen in the numerous Greek restaurants, bakeries, tavernas and cafes, as well as several Greek Orthodox churches. While the population of Greeks in Astoria was 22,579 in 1980, it dropped to 18,127 by 1990 due to decreased immigration and lower birth rates. Greek organizations in the area include the Hellenic American Action Committee and the Federation of Hellenic Societies of Greater New York. Recent economic issues in Greece have seen an insurgence of thousands of Greek immigrants. Many Maltese also live in Astoria, around 20,000, and although this population has steadily been emigrating from the area, there are still many Maltese, supported by the Maltese Center of New York. Beginning in the mid-1970s, the neighborhood's Arab population grew from earlier immigrants from Lebanon to also include people from Egypt, Syria, Yemen, Tunisia, Morocco and Algeria. In the 1990s, Steinway Street between 28th Avenue and Astoria Boulevard saw the establishment of many Arabic shops, restaurants and cafes, which is unofficially called Little Egypt. Astoria's South American and European population has seen significant growth since the early 1990s, including a large population of Brazilians, who reside in the 36th Avenue area. Albanians, Bulgarians, and Bosnians have also shown a rise in numbers. Many Spanish Americans live in Astoria, with most of them being of Galician heritage from northwestern Spain, this community being supported by the Casa Galicia, or Galicia House, and the Círculo Español, a Spanish circle. At one time, many Bangladeshi Americans settled in Astoria, but by 2001, many of the Bangladeshi American people in Astoria had moved to Metro Detroit. A survey of an Astoria area Bengali language newspaper estimated that, in an 18-month period until March 2001, 8,000 Bangladeshi people moved to the Detroit area. However, as of 2010, the Bangladeshi American community in Astoria has been increasing, as Bangladeshi immigrants are increasingly settling in Astoria. Population losses in Queens were particularly high in immigrant neighborhoods such as Astoria, which suffered the greatest population loss in the city. It lost over 10,000 residents between the years 2000 and 2010. Geography. There is some debate as to what constitutes the geographic boundaries of Astoria. The neighborhood was part of Long Island City prior to the latter's incorporation into the city of New York in 1898, and much of it is still classified as LIC by the USPS. The area south of Astoria was called Ravenswood, and traditionally, Broadway was considered the border between the two. Today, however, many residents and businesses south of Broadway identify themselves as Astorians for convenience or status. Since Long Island City has historically been considered an industrial area, and Ravenswood is now mostly a low-income neighborhood, some of the thoroughfares have lent the names to unofficial terms for the areas they serve. For instance, the eastern end of Astoria, with Steinway Street as its main thoroughfare, is sometimes referred to simply as Steinway, and the northern end around Ditmars Boulevard is sometimes referred to as Ditmars. Banners displayed on lampposts along 30th Avenue refer to it as the heart of Astoria. Ravenswood. Ravenswood is the name for the strip of land bordering the East River in Long Island City, and is part of Astoria. The land was acquired in 1814 by Col. George Gibbs, a businessman from New York City who developed it. Gibbs died in 1833, and the land was divided into 9 parcels by 3 developers. From 1848, there were several mansions built on this land, but the high-class housing did not survive. The spring of 1853 brought the opening of a post office of its own and country store, run by Messrs. Moore and Amp Lewister, and Mr. Samuel H. Moore of that firm received the appointment of postmaster, handling the mails in a corner of the store. Ravenswood, unlike Astoria, never became a village. There was no disposition at any time to become independent, as there was insufficient population or commercial activity to justify such a move. Ravenswood remained an exclusive hamlet within the town of Newtown until its absorption with the village of Astoria and the hamlets of Hunters Point, Blissville, Sunnyside, Dutch Kills, Steinway, Bowery Bay and Middleton in Newtown Township into Long Island City in 1870. In 1870, Ravenswood, along with several other hamlets and the village of Astoria, merged to form Long Island City. In 1875, the first commercial buildings were erected, and the mansions were converted into offices and boarding houses. In 1879, the Long Island Terracotta Company was established in Ravenswood by Rudolph Frank. By 1900, Ravenswood was heavily commercial and remains so to this day. However, the name has retained its residential character through the New York City Housing Authority project that was built in 1949 to 1951 with this name, between 34th and 36th Avenues, and 12th and 24th Streets. The name also identifies the large electric power station established along the shore of the East River, just south of the Roosevelt Island Bridge. The Ravenswood No. 3 generating station was built by Con Edison in 1963–65 but, due to deregulation, has subsequently been owned by Keyspan, National Grid, and TransCanada. The power plant can generate approximately 2,500 megawatts of power, which is about 20% of New York City's electricity demand. Ditmars is a middle-class section of Astoria bounded by Bowery Bay to the north, 31st Street to the east, 23rd Avenue to the south and the East River on the west. The adjacent Steinway neighborhood was largely developed as a company town by the Steinway and Amp Sons Piano Company, and included houses and public facilities that were also available to non-employees. However, the Ditmars neighborhood was not included in the Steinway and Amp Sons Company housing and related facilities project. Ditmars is considered to be a popular neighborhood among young professionals, and in some real estate references the adjacent neighborhoods of Ditmars and Steinway are joined as a single Ditmars-Steinway reference. The neighborhood takes its name from Ditmars Boulevard, which was named in honor of Raymond Lee Ditmars, famed American herpetologist and curator of reptiles of the New York Zoological Society at the Bronx Zoo. Astoria Heights, or Upper Ditmars, is bounded by Hazen Street to the west, LaGuardia Airport to the east, Bowery Bay to the north, and Astoria Boulevard and the Grand Central Parkway to the south. It is mostly a quiet middle-class neighborhood of 1- and 2-family private homes. The Reichland Homestead is near the north end of Astoria Heights at 7803 19th Road, built around 1655 by Abraham Riker under a patent from NIEUW Nederland's last governor, Peter Stuyvesant. It is believed to be the oldest remaining dwelling in New York City still used as a residence. There is an adjacent family cemetery. The Smiths, who bought the house in 1975, have been restoring it for many years. The annual public tour was given usually in mid-September by the owners for the benefit of a local historical society, but has since ceased to occur. Before Prohibition, there were dance halls, picnic areas and amusement park rides at North Beach. Ragtime composer Scott Joplin is buried across the Grand Central Parkway at St. Michael's Cemetery, which occasionally holds ragtime concerts. The Rikers Island Bridge to New York City's main prison, Rikers Island, runs from the north end of Hazen Street. Technically, Rikers Island is in the Bronx since New York City took it over from Long Island City in 1884, after it had annexed the South Bronx but before it consolidated Queens. However, like Astoria Heights, Rikers Island gets its mail from the East Elmhurst station of the Flushing Post Office. Places of interest: Museum of the Moving Image in the former Kaufman Astoria Studios building. Isamu Noguchi Museum. Socrates Sculpture Park. Astoria Park along the East River is Astoria's largest park and also contains the largest of New York City's public pools, which was also the former site of the 1936 and 1964 U.S. Olympic trials. The Hell Gate Bridge and New York Connecting Railroad Northeast Corridor Viaduct rise high above Astoria. The oldest beer garden in New York City, Bohemian Hall, was founded in 1910 when Astoria was largely Irish, Italian, Bohemian, and Slovak. The Greater Astoria Historical Society in the historic Quinn Memorial Building on the corner of Broadway and 36th Street serves as a valuable historical resource as well as providing tourist information. St. Michael's Cemetery on Astoria Boulevard is the burial place of composer and pianist Scott Joplin and gangster Frank Costello. Steinway and Amp Sons Piano Factory, located at 1 Steinway Place, has been in operation in Astoria since the late 19th century and represents a legacy of award-winning craftsmanship, arts patronage, and the once vibrant, stand-alone Steinway Village. Limited tours of the factory are available. Bicycle lanes built as part of the city's bike lane system added to Astoria's roadways include marked space along Vernon Boulevard, 20th Avenue, 21st Street, 34th and 36th Avenues, and access to protected paths crossing the Triborough Bridge onto Randall's and Ward's Islands. Riders may also engage in more scenic biking along short sections of Shore Boulevard, bordering both Astoria Park and Ralph DeMarco Park, a span that is occasionally closed to motor vehicle traffic during events. The Modern Art Foundry, a foundry, is located in Astoria. In addition to Bohemian Hall, the Astoria Center of Israel, Paramount Studios Complex, Soma & Company Piano Factory, Steinway Mansion, and Trinity Lutheran Church are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Transportation. Astoria is served by the local EMR trains of the New York City subway, which stop at the Steinway Street and 46th Street stations on the underground IND Queens Boulevard line, as well as the NQ trains, which run along the elevated BMT Astoria line above 31st Street. The primary streets running north-south of Vernon Boulevard along the East River, 21st Street, a major traffic artery with a mix of residential, commercial and industrial areas, 31st Street, and Steinway Street, founder of the piano company Steinway and Amp Sons, a major commercial street with many retail stores, and a very prominent Middle Eastern section between Astoria Boulevard and 28th Avenue. The area is full of Middle Eastern food restaurants which present similar local types of food from Lebanon, Egypt and Morocco. Most food in these restaurants is halal that suited the Muslim residents who are main customers in this neighborhood. The 21st Street Queensbridge subway station also serves the area at Queensbridge houses health care. Because of its location, Astoria is conveniently served by several nearby New York City hospitals and medical centers, as well as FDNY service. As of 2014, there are 5 FDNY firehouses in Astoria. Mount Sinai Hospital of Queens is the only true hospital medical center in the neighborhood. It operates 24/7 and is part of the Mount Sinai Health System network. Other nearby hospitals include Elmhurst Hospital Center in nearby Elmhurst, as well as Forest Hills Hospital in Forest Hills. Education. Schools. The New York City Department of Education operates Astoria's public schools. Astoria also has several private schools, many of which offer parochial education. Immaculate Conception School, Les Enfants Montessori School, Our Lady of Mount Carmel School, Queens Lutheran School, St. Catherine and St. George School, St. Demetrios Astoria School, St. Francis of Assisi School, St. John's Preparatory School, St. Joseph's Academy, Most Precious Blood School, Elba Islamic School. Libraries. Queens Borough Public Library operates 3 branches within Astoria's zip codes: Astoria, Broadway, Steinway. Notable people. Born in Astoria, Jesse Eisenberg, actor. Gordon Willis, Academy Award-winning cinematographer. Nicole and Natalie Albino, of the musical duo Nina Sky. Ted Alexandro, comedian. Iris Apfel, businesswoman and style icon. Tony Bennett, Grammy-winning singer. Hilary Brooke, actress and Lou Costello's love interest on the Abbott and Costello TV show. The Cadillac Man, author. Land of the Lost Souls, My Life on the Streets. Maria Callas, opera singer. Chester Carlson, invented xerography at his Astoria laboratory in 1938. Robert Davi, actor, appeared in The Goonies, Die Hard, and License to Kill. John Frusciante, guitarist for Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anthony Giacchino, filmmaker and producer. George Gibbs, geologist who contributed to the study of the languages of the indigenous peoples of Washington Territory. Jack Kelly, actor, mayor of Huntington Beach, California. Cyndi Lauper, singer, songwriter, actress, LGBT activist. Patrick McGoohan, actor. Chris Megalades, soccer player for the Puerto Rico national football team. Ethel Merman, Broadway actress and singer. Eric Metaxas, author, founder of Socrates in the City. Marilyn Millian, judge on television series The People's Court. Ditto Montiel, author, screenwriter, director and musician. Alerta, Olympic discus throw 4-time gold medalist. Melanie Safka, singer-songwriter. Franz Sherman, Cold War-era expert on the People's Republic of China. Dee Snider, singer of rock band Twisted Sister. Christopher Walken, actor, raised in a move to Astoria, Alva. Addy, acting U.S. Secretary of State. Lydia Bastianich, celebrity chef, TV host, cookbook author and restaurateur. Frank Bonsangue, actor and television personality. Eddie Bracken, actor. Cambry Crose, author and storyteller. Christian Finnegan, comedian and actor. Whitey Ford, New York Yankees pitcher. Chammy Coldsclaw, basketball player. George Maharis, actor and comedian best known for his work on Route 66. John H. Mayer, financier and former business associate of Howard Hughes, also involved with Watergate. Nicole Petalides, Fox business reporter. Henrietta Rodman, feminist and educator. Christopher Walken, Oscar-winning actor. Renee Young, WWE diva. Gravesites. Additionally, Astoria is the final resting place of New York City mobster Frank Costello as well as ragtime composer and musician Scott Joplin. Both Costello and Joplin are interred at St. Michael's Cemetery. The cemetery hosts annual public events and concerts to celebrate Joplin's musical legacy, including a Joplin retrospective.